Hello, today's Catalan grammar video is about the pronoun I. Now, what is a pronoun? Real quick, just to go over this. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a proper noun. So, I see Carlos. I see him. Carlos is a proper noun, and him is the object pronoun. It's the pronoun. So, for example, in Catalan, veig al Carlos. I'll veig. Al is him in this case. Alright, that's what it is. So right now, the I is a pronoun. It basically is taking the place of a proper noun. So a proper noun can be anything. It could be a person, it could be books. It's just basically the name of something. It's not a pronoun. So let's begin with the impersonal haber. The equivalent, the translation for there is and there are in Catalan is ia. I comes into play here because it's basically saying here has, basically. It's taking the place of here. In English we say there. But, for example, there are many books on the table. In Catalan, hi ha molts llibres damunt la taula. There are many of them on the table. N'hi ha molts damunt la taula. So here is just basically, this is just basically the translation for there are. It's probably the easiest usage of I in Catalan. Number 2, location. The adverbial pronoun which referring to an action towards a location or where one is once the place is mentioned. So once you mention something, you can use this pronoun, just as in all cases basically, because if you say he's sick, you'll ask who's sick. You have to have mentioned a person before. So if I'm talking about Tom, saying, well, I saw Tom the other day and he was sick, I can say he because I've mentioned Tom, so we know who we're talking about. In this case, as in the last case, it didn't mean anything because it just meant they're on. It's just saying it's the impersonal. In this case, you have to have mentioned the proper name before. So let's begin with this. Are you at George's or are you not there yet? Ets a cal Jorge or no ets encara? The I here replaces the proper name, a cal Jorge, George's, as the there does in this case. M'agrada el Japó, hi vaig cada any. I like Japan, I go there every year. In English we can even remove it and we could just say, I like Japan, I go every year. So the I here replaces the location, where you're going, because you've already mentioned Japan. Vaig a la feina cada dia, n'hi tinc molts amics allà. I go to work every day, I have a lot of friends there. Again, I replaces the proper name of the work, the job. Si arregles la cadira, t'hi podràs seure després. If you fix the chair, you can sit on it later. What does he represent here? It represents la cadira, which is the chair. Why? Because it is a place you can sit on afterwards. It's a location, basically. Vull anar-hi amb el meu amic. I want to go there with my friends. We've already mentioned the place, and that's why we can say I. This is just an example, but okay. Number 3, after a preposition except the, in the meaning of, such as in ideas or thoughts. So, penso en l'escola, hi penso. I think about school, I'm thinking about it. So basically, in English, we use about. In Catalan, they use an, for which is the preposition that comes after the verb to think. But it's just basically, this is the preposition, this is what comes after it, so that's why you replace it with I. This is the same thing in this case. Parla amb ell i veuràs com s'hi ha bé. Talk with him, and you'll see that he'll agree. So basically, the I here replaces with him, amb ell, because with is the preposition and him comes afterwards. Alright, another example. Pensava en el futur cada dia. Hi pensava sovint. Ara no hi penso més. I used to think about the future every day. I would think about it often. Now I don't think of it anymore. So I is replacing the future here. It's replacing about, and here it would be more common to say I don't think about it anymore. This is just an example, again. It's kind of forced, but the I is replacing future in both of these cases. Alright, it's an adverb to replace something with someone who accompanies. So what does this mean? Let's take this example sentence. Sempre anava amb el gos, però ara Ya no iba. She always used to go around with her dog, but she doesn't anymore. With her dog, what's accompanying her? Her dog. So basically, is with. So whenever the word is used as a compliment as someone that is accompanying something, like the dog, you can replace the object or the subject with e. So what are we replacing e with in this? Algos, the dog. In English, we wouldn't say that. We would just say, but she doesn't anymore. We haven't got to replace the dog. You could say, but she doesn't go. She doesn't go around with it anymore. You could say it because it's an animal. But in Catalan, you could just say i again. No vaig gaire al pau. De fet, fa molt de temps que no hi surto. I hardly ever see Paul. In fact, it has been a long while since I've been out with him. So, even though you don't mention with in this original sentence, in this next sentence you're suggesting with him, as you would in English. Okay. Some other examples. You can replace a word. You can replace an idea with e when it is related to the manner. So, menja de forma extraña. He eats weird. He always eats like that. So, I'm sorry. Sempre menja. He always eats like that. What is he replacing here? De forma extraña. Weird. So basically, in English we would just replace this with like that, because we wouldn't use it or him or whatnot. We would just say a whole another thing. Camina como manek. She walks like a duck. No y camina. No, she doesn't walk like a duck. That's what the e means here. So it's the e is referring to the manner in which she walks. An instrument. Ineteju, I have to fix that. Ineteju am la esponja. I clean with a sponge. What does the e represent here? It means the instrument I use to clean with. So, am la esponja. With time. Am rento cada matí a les 8. I wash every morning at 8 a.m. Demà no m'hi rentaré. Tomorrow I won't, at that time. What is he replacing here? It's replacing matí a les 8. It's replacing the time. Alright. Use with senses. This is important because it can mean something. Every time you use it, it can mean something different. But basically, this would mean ibech means I can see, in the sense of I'm not blind, I have the ability, the sense of sight. No isentu, I can't hear. It means that I'm probably deaf. And that's it would be different if you were to say I can't see him, which would be albech, or I can't hear her, no al sentu, for example. Another example, es tan fosc que es difícil veure-hi. It's so dark, it's difficult to see. Veure-hi, since veure is used in a sense of the senses, you would have to include e in this. Sometimes you wouldn't have to, but it's just an example of how you would include it. Alright, some other examples. Penso en el meu marit quan vaig al parc I en la vida que teníem. I think of my husband when I go to the park in the life we had. Penso en ell quan hi vaig I en la vida que teníem. I think of him when I go there and the life we had. So you can replace with I al parc because it's a location, but you can also replace the al meu marit, my husband, with I as well, because it's something that it comes after the preposition. Alright, so it can, in English we would just replace it with him, but in Catalan you replace it with I. However, it can also refer to the park, as I said before, I penso sovint, I think about it, that place often. Or it can replace the whole sentence. It can replace en el meu marit, al parc, la vida. So it can replace my husband, the park, the life. It can replace the whole sentence, basically. Everything that you've mentioned can be replaced with I. But what happens, it's just best to not, when you're in context with the person and you're speaking to someone, you'd probably replace it with anel, or you would say la vida again, because it would just be more natural, because many people would just refer to I as a place, but you can also say without a problem if you're just talking about al meu marit, my husband in this case, with the it's not a problem, but it's just the way E functions in Catalan grammar. But I hope this was useful to you, and I hope that you continue learning Catalan, and hope this helped. Please leave any questions or comment below. Thank you.